Hey, my name is Mia Mallet, and today I'm going to be talking about why Pitch Perfect is the best modern music movie. We've all at least heard about Pitch Perfect, but I think few of us realize just how impactful this movie was to American and acapella culture. But for those who haven't seen the movie or haven't seen it in a long time, here is a quick summary. Pitch Perfect follows a group of college students as they compete in acapella competition. The movie starts out with Becca moving into college. She goes to the fair, and at the fair, she meets the Bellas for the first time, which is the main all-female acapella group at Barden College, which is where she's moving into. And she is not enthused about it. She wants to become a DJ. But it cuts to a couple months later, and Becca is sitting at her college dorm room, and her father comes in, and the viewer finds out that Becca has been skipping class and still hasn't made any friends. He gives her an ultimatum. Her dad says that she needs to try out a club, like genuinely try it out. And if she still doesn't enjoy college, then he will support her dreams of going to LA and becoming a professional DJ. And he would financially support that. And so she gets convinced to join the Bellas after a shower scene with the co-leader named Chloe. And her and Chloe end up harmonizing Titanium in the shower, and that convinces Becca to join the Bellas. And so it cuts to an initiation circle, and that's after initiation. And then there's like a prep montage where all the characters are like really introduced. And after this is the famous riff-off scene where the four main a cappella groups in the school go into an empty pool and compete with one another based on a category of song. And like the ones used are ladies from the 80s and songs about sex. This is like when the problems start appearing, because it's the Autumn Mixer, which is their first like competition before like regionals, semifinals, and finals. And at the Autumn Mixer, they perform the same song that they did last year, and it is not good. It's actually so bad that they're cut off in the middle of their performance. And this starts like a downward spiral where the Bellas, they keep doing the same songs that they did in previous years, and the audience watching them always gets bored. And so throughout regionals, semifinals, Becca is trying to convince Aubrey, the leader of the Bellas, to incorporate new music, new choreography, and she's been experimenting with like mashups of like modern songs. And so she's trying to convince Aubrey that this mashup technique could work for a cappella competitions, and Aubrey is having none of it. Until finally, after semifinals, Becca convinces Aubrey, and Aubrey agrees, and they try it out, and they win. So that's the main storyline, and now that we have a refresher of the movie, we should talk about how it came to be.
Please don't stop the music.
What many people likely don't know about Pitch Perfect is that it was inspired by a book of the same name written by McKinney Rabkin, which follows a season of collegiate a cappella groups and competitions. And we can see the influence from this in the movie because Pitch Perfect, the movie, follows collegiate a cappella competitions between the Bellas and the Barden College all-male a cappella group called the Troublemakers. And so actually, the Tufts Beelzebubs in the book inspired the Troublemakers, and the Oregon Divisi inspired the Bellas. And there were actually two singers present in the book named Deke Sharon and Ed Boyer, and they would end up working on set, producing vocals and arranging songs, and they would actually put the actors through a boot camp so that they could produce their own vocals. So all the vocals that you're hearing in Pitch Perfect is actual a cappella music. And so Kay Cannon is the writer of Pitch Perfect, and she worked on the set of Rock 30, and she was a writer. and Rock 30 is a comedy series. And there was a character named Toofer who mentioned being in an a cappella group in his youth. And Cannon thought this was so funny that she was like, somebody needs to write a movie about it. And she ended up being the one to write a movie about it. Pitch Perfect was also part of an a cappella movement starting in the US at the time. A cappella was on a rise, and after Pitch Perfect came out, it dramatically helped increase that rise in the US. The early 2000s a cappella sing saw many shows, including the Sing Off and Dragapella, and it also saw the musical Perfect Harmony, which could also be a potential influence for Pitch Perfect, as it mainly talks about two high school a cappella groups competing to win a national championship. And this closely mirrors Pitch Perfect's plot outline of two collegiate a cappella groups competing to win championships. And so a cappella also started changing around this time, more specifically in the early 2010s. And this mainly happened with a show called In Transit. And it featured a wide range of musical styles combining hip hop, rock, Latin, and jazz. And it also incorporated beatboxing. And this likely also had an influence on Pitch Perfect because we see the unique concept of mashups that hadn't been thought about before in the genre. And Pitch Perfect also had a huge cultural impact that is still seen to this day, and that is heavily related to the song Cups.
When I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my hair, you're gonna miss me everywhere. Oh, I know you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
So Pitch Perfect changed the way that a cappella groups function and sing, and it also redefined rom-coms, due in part to its empowering feminist take and majority female main cast. It focused more on kinship than the meeting a man and falling in love storyline. Pitch Perfect is actually still popular today despite being released in 2012, which was 11 years ago. It also pushed several actors into stardom, such as Rebel Wilson. And because of Pitch Perfect, stars like Rebel Wilson are household names. Teenagers shortly after release also grasped onto a lot of the ideas in Pitch Perfect. And this included singing along slumber parties, kids trying to master cups, and the constant use of catchphrases such as "Aka, excuse me." Pitch Perfect was also seen in modern pop culture at the time as well, including Comedy Central skits on the song Cups, a Green Bay Packers player sending tweets about how much they loved the movie, and even Howard Stern saying on public radio that he really enjoyed the movie as well, and that he was a big fan of it. The soundtrack was also heavily influential because it featured a cappella versions of many popular songs, and it was actually the top-selling album in 2013 with over 2 million sold. The song Cups alone appeared on Billboard's Hot 100 chart for 50 weeks straight. Along with this, Anna Kendrick's performance of Cups on YouTube got over 600 million views, and the mashups present in Pitch Perfect would go on to be performed in a bunch of places, including middle school a cappella groups. Pitch Perfect also made a cappella go from being seen as uncool and nerdy to something that was cool and modern. A cappella competitions started to appeal to a younger audience because they saw how a cappella could be turned into this more modern, fun, exciting kind of ordeal. It also produced more ticket sales for the International Championship of Collegiate a cappella. And this included 10 times the amount of groups in the competition compared to years before. Pitch Perfect was able to do all of this culture influencing through poking fun at stereotypes associated with a cappella. It starts out by showing robotic, outdated, and boring performances before slowly transitioning to exciting and modern ones. And this is what also transformed the viewer's conception of a cappella in their mind. And now for some fun facts about Pitch Perfect.
'Cause I may be bad, but I'm perfectly good at it. Sex in the air.
Cups actually wasn't gonna originally be in Pitch Perfect. Anna Kendrick learned about it from Reddit, And the song was originally going to be something weird and funny, something along the lines of like, I'm a little teapot. But after seeing Anna Kendrick perform Cups, the directors knew that it was going to have to be her audition song in the movie. The actor Adam Devine in the movie, who played Bumper, was actually dating someone who was a professional a cappella singer. And this was his girlfriend, Kelly Jackal, who also played one of the characters in the movie, and she plays Jessica in The Bellas. The riff-off wheel included categories such as ugly lead singers, songs Glee ruined, and overplayed Black Eyed Peas songs. Other categories included Black Michael Jackson, White Michael Jackson, Christian rock, hair bands, and puppet songs. Every scene in which Anna Kendrick is singing alone are her live vocals. And finally, the vomit that Aubrey pukes up is actually a combination of pineapple juice, tomato juice, and chicken noodle soup, and apparently it smelled like cheese. So, not much better than actual vomit. Pitch Perfect is a very unique movie, and it has a combination of romance, comedy, amazing music. I'm not surprised that it had such a huge impact on culture when it came out, and even still today. Like, I had no idea that the Cup song came from Pitch Perfect. I thought it existed beforehand, and that's just how influential the movie was. Every character in The Bellas is hugely unique, and they use those unique aspects of themselves to define themselves. And I know seeing that as a kid, it made me feel better about the unique aspects of myself, because I didn't have to see those as something wrong with me. I could just see it as a part of who I was. And that was really nice. So Pitch Perfect, wild about a cappella, offers so much to the viewer, and I would definitely recommend watching it. Enjoy the day, take a breath, maybe be a boss babe and sing some a cappella.